shocking news, breaking headline news, thanks to a new documentary that is out. You know the traditional understanding of Christopher Columbus. If you're not aware of it, I'll allow Tony Soprano to explain.
He was a brave Italian explorer.
There it's it. He was a brave Italian explorer. Christopher Columbus, great man. He was an Italian explorer. He tried to sail for Portugal. Portugal didn't want him. He tried to sail for Spain. Spain didn't want him, but eventually Spain relented. He sailed for Spain, discovered the Americas, gave us so much of what we call the modern world. And now there's a new documentary that says, no. He was not Italian. He only pretended to be Italian because he was born in Spain, but he had to hide the fact that he was born in Spain because Christopher Columbus was a Jew. Now, it's worth pointing out, there's not a ton, there's really no scientific evidence for this yet, because as Antonio Alonso, a geneticist who's the former head of the National Institute of Toxicology and Forensic Sciences, as he points out, this documentary has not actually presented any scientific study. So in Alonso's words, unfortunately, from the scientific point of view, no assessment can be made after watching the documentary, since it does not provide any data on what has been analyzed. My conclusion is that the documentary does not show the DNA of Columbus at any given moment, and scientists do not know what analysis has been undertaken. Now, on top of that, if Columbus was part Jewish, that still would not prove that he was born in Spain rather than in Genoa, as has been commonly understood since the earliest days of Columbus's travels. That all said, though, it's an interesting theory. Was Columbus Jewish or part Jewish? And it's an interesting theory, too, because right around this time, you have the Spanish Inquisition. I just gave a long speech on the Crusades and some of the great battles between Christians and Muslims and the Spanish Inquisition. The Spanish Inquisition is an extremely poorly understood event in the popular culture. No one ever expects it. And the Spanish Inquisition was the culmination of what's called the Reconquista. So the Muslims had invaded Spain early on. They tried to conquer Europe on multiple occasions and failed, but they did succeed at conquering Spain. And happily, eventually, the Catholic Spanish were able to gain enough power that they were able to boot the Muslims back out and send them packing back to their homeland. So at this point, they had this challenge, which was they said, okay, if you convert to Catholicism, well, it was just called Christianity in those days because it was before the Protestant Revolution. If you convert to Christianity, you can stay. If you're Muslim, you still have some issues, but we'd like you to convert to Christianity. But if you're an other kind of non-Christian, if you're a Jew in particular, you can stay. However, if you're not, then you got to go. There's so much more to say. First, though, go to helixsleep.com/Knowles. There is nothing quite like a good night's sleep. That is why I use Helix Sleep. I have had my beautiful Helix mattress for, I think, 4 years now or something like that. It has been a game changer. They offer 20 different mattress models, each designed for specific sleep preferences and positions. Helix mattresses are 100% fiberglass free. That's right. No harmful materials that could jeopardize your health or your family's well-being. I also find it's not as comfortable to sleep on fiberglass. I don't know, it kind of pokes at you, doesn't it? It's kind of, the shards just make you bleed. So anyway, you don't want that. You want a Helix instead. It's a product you can feel good about bringing into your home. They even have a 100-night trial and a 10 to 15-year warranty. If you are ready to revolutionize your sleep and wake up refreshed to fight the good fight, Helix is offering our listeners 20% off all mattress orders. Just go to helixsleep.com/Knowles, HELIXSLEEP.com/KNOWLES. If you want to sleep like me, you can't sleep with me because I'm married, but if you want to sleep like me, don't get my bed, get a similar bed. Get your own bed, your own Helix mattress, HELIXSLEEP.com/Knowles. Helix means that better sleep starts right now. So whatever you think about the expulsion of non-Christians from Spain, which in the context of the 15th century must at least seem somewhat defensible, seeing as the Christians had finally reconquered this land from the invading Muslims who had dominated this part of Europe for centuries. But even if you say the expulsions were a terrible thing, the Spanish Inquisition was never an institution that sought explicitly to persecute Jews or Muslims. The purpose of the Spanish Inquisition was to defend the integrity of the faith. It only concerned people who had converted to Christianity, some of whom had only fake converted to Christianity, but I guess had continued to practice their own religion. So this raises the question pertinent to Columbus here, which is the question of the Conversos. The Conversos were Jews who had, around the time of Columbus, or even much earlier, converted to Christianity. Now, there's another group, the Marranos, I think, who were Jews who had said they converted to Christianity, but secretly were not Christian and were still Jewish. But that first group, the Conversos, were people who were ethnically Jews, just like the apostles, just like many, many early Christians, and had converted to Christianity. The people behind this documentary seem really confused about that fact, because they don't see how a Jew could be a Catholic. They don't see how someone who's a converso in this time in Spain could be a Catholic. Some of the most prominent saints that we think of today were conversos, were ethnic Jews who came from the lineage of people who had converted in Spain. Teresa Benedict of the Cross. Well, she was not a converso. That was Edith Stein. She came much later. Teresa of Avila. Her family converted through the Spanish Inquisition. John of the Cross. Obviously, the apostles were ethnic Jews. There's no actual study yet, but the one thing that we can know for certain is not true about this story is that Christopher Columbus secretly practiced the religion of Judaism. Because Christopher Columbus, according to every account we have of him, was a devout Catholic who regularly said all the prayers, who undertook the voyage for the spread of the gospel, who wanted to fund another crusade to the Holy Land, to reclaim the Holy Land for Christians, who was one of the most devout men of his era. That we do know. And so the fact that these documentarians and the people reporting on Columbus would make that kind of basic error of religion in the history of the church makes me question the whole story. For now, at least, whether he's Jewish or not, at least on the question, ethnically Jewish or not, at least on the question of, was he Spanish or Italian? Christopher Columbus was a brave Italian explorer, and in this house, he's a hero. That was a great clip. Now hold up, ring the bell, subscribe to the Michael Knowles YouTube channel, and we will see you next time.